You know, I wanted to do this tag nice and spontaneously, but I can't because I have already filmed this video and audio was not recording. I am a genius at filming. It happens so much that I feel embarrassed. But this time the audio should be working, I checked. So let's get into the mid-year freakout tag! I'm so on brand with being late. I think this is just a style video that I will do from now on. Ain't no stress is holding me back. Like honestly, I couldn't film for the past 2 months because of university. 3 months maybe even? I have no idea, time is relative. Let's just start with the questions. So question number 1 is the best book you've read so far in 2022. I was struggling to come up with an answer for this question. I think I finally decided on a German book, a finance book, which is so stupid and strange to say, but this reading year was so ridiculous. Like I've simultaneously read the most books that I've ever read and the least books that I've ever read, because I've read I think 45 books at this moment, and more than half of it are manga and belong to the same series. So that is, no, I have actually not read that many books, even though it looks like it. So this is how I came up with this finance book. It is called The Only Book That You Have to Read About Finances. Oh no, it's like the only book that you should read about finances. But the title is in German, the author is German. It is by Thomas Kehl and Mona Linke, and they together, he himself has like a YouTube channel, he's a finance YouTuber, and this book actually made me invest. So this is why I would rate it the best book that I've read so far, because it actually impacted my life in a sense. Although this is technically probably not what the question would like you to answer. Like they just want to know which stories you found the greatest, or like books that got you excited. This is just practical and very rational and very adult. I have no explanations and words. Let's just skip to the second question. Okay, question number 2. The best sequel that you've read so far in 2022. I don't know about this best sequel, to be honest, but I will say that one of the best series so far that I have read is Demon Slayer, with no surprise to anyone because everybody loves this series. And I've also not finished it yet. Here there are the ones that I'm still about to read, like I haven't read them yet, but I am missing some parts and I'm waiting on them to arrive so that I can finally finish the series. Question number 3, a new oh no, and here's where it's going downhill. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. I have no clue what has been a new release. By the way, maybe, like, is that counting as a new release now that I think of it? Like, I don't wanna... For complacency, is that a new release? I already forgot. Like, I'm in a time zone that is different from this planet's time zone. But I think that this got released in January, if I'm not mistaken. I think that in some countries actually it was released in December. I could check. No, it was released in 2022. Fine, I'm taking To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm taking that. I am not sure how serious I am on this one. If I really want to read it this year still, I don't know. But I definitely want to read it at some point, so this is why it's on my physical TBR. And this is why I bought it, so I feel like I'm only half lying. Good, but the next question I will skip, because it's the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't know what's going to be released in the second half of the year. I'm already fucking happy if I can actually decide on the next book that I would like to fucking read. I cannot keep ahead on what is going to be released next. I read what I get served. Question number 1, 2, 3. Question number 5. this is already getting confused. Because where I'm taking this from is from Noelle's video, and she didn't put numbers on her question, so I'm gonna lose count. Anyways, question number 5 is my biggest surprise this year yet. Yeah. I have picked for this one the Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and this is actually a sad surprise in a sense because I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Don't get me wrong, it's still like a very comfortable read, and I love the beginning and I love the ending, but I did not remember how much of a short story collection this actually is. Like, it's a lot of chapters just felt like short stories, little adventures that were like closed off within themselves and that didn't have like any significance until the very ending, and I don't know if that is actually good craftsmanship. I would have liked more of the characters overlapping into the other chapters, all of it kind of being more of a French braid than a ponytail with 2 ties in it, like, you know what I'm trying to picture. Not the type of surprise that I wanted, but a surprise nonetheless. Question number... I have forgotten where we're at, so I'm just gonna stop. Your favorite new author, debut or new to you? I wouldn't say favorite necessarily for this one, but an author that I have discovered recently is Suehiro Maruo. This is a horror mangaka. He is especially known to write sexual horror, so if that is not your thing, I would recommend not picking that up. It's not my thing either, by the way. I just picked it up out of curiosity. I would never have thought to see a horror author being displayed on the tables of the bookstore that I shop my books at. Like, they're pretty much always safe betting. Like, they're always having the very popular titles and very child-friendly ones up on front in the manga section. And this was a surprise. I was just curious, intrigued, and I wanted to know what this is all about. So I got myself this, and also this, which seems to be part of a series because there's a 1 on the spine. This one is a standalone, and it's about a girl living in a circus, in like this, I have no idea what this is called in English, but the ones that go from town to town, and the artists are like freaks in that sense. They all have some, I don't know, they're impaired in some way, physically, mostly physically. And this is like in this very special style. My camera doesn't autofocus, so I'm really sorry. So this is how it looks like. So as I said, this is not necessarily a new favorite author, but one that I am definitely interested in and I definitely want to read more from. Okay, let's go to a happier topic with the next question, which is your newest fictional crush. Nothing new about my crush, baby. It's same old, same old. I'm still very much into Kakashi, and I will still mention this. Here he is. Thank you for being here, sticking around with me, my little statue. And I have nothing further to say. I have not read of anybody, not even... don't even get me started on Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but nothing can like compare to Kakashi, no. I have even gotten so bad with this, by the way. I don't know why I should reveal this, but I mean, you can see it on my Goodreads. I have read a book. It was a kind of a light novel thing. It reads like a fan fiction, and it says that the story is by Kishimoto, but I don't believe that. Actually, I'm gonna bring it to you. I'm getting red just showing this to you because I feel like this is as guilty pleasure as it gets, you know. So this is, it says Kishimoto, but I think that only the characters are based off of like Kishimoto's Naruto, and then the story is actually by Yun Esaka, I think. Anyways, it's like the start of a little light novel series that is created in the timeline of Boruto, so like the generation after Naruto, and I have enjoyed it so much. I'm definitely not gonna read anything else of this series, but This was a treat, like 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, with my heart and my soul. But I know that objectively, whatever that means, but objectively, it's not that great. It's not that great of a story, but fuck yeah, I'm here for everything that involves Kakashi. Okay, question number... I forgot that I was not counting. Okay, a book that made you cry. I don't think that any book made me cry this year. I don't think so. And if so, only because it was very horrible. I will say that a book that made me cry, the closest that I came to crying in a sense of, oh, I can't believe how bad this was One by One by Ruth Ware. I didn't like that at all. It was very obvious who the culprit was from almost the beginning, because she spoiled herself. I didn't understand that. So that made me almost cry. But anything else I can't think of. Something recently that really has made me cry is Beldo. This is the anime. It's a retelling of The Beauty and the Beast. And I wouldn't say that I caught that. I wouldn't say that the story is so innovative. It's a retelling, but at least it's a little bit of an adaptation to the original, obviously. It's playing like in this cyber world, and it's sort of anime goes Disney with a lot of singing, and whenever emotional scenes and music come together, I just can't but cry. It's a natural thing that I do. I can't resist crying, okay? So this is one thing that I can name that made me cry, but that is not a book. Let's go to the other one, which is a book that made you happy. I also don't think that I have necessarily a book that made me happy, other than like giggle like a 16-year-old teenager with the Kakashi one, but not like happy. No, I don't think that I've read those types of books this year yet. The only thing that I could or can think of is that I have read another book by Kazuo Ishiguro. Wait a second. It's called A Pale View of Hills. It's his debut novel, and I was just happy to read another Ishiguro, to be honest. Like, he's just such a good writer, but I don't always have the mental headspace to read from him, because as I said in other videos, like, his stories linger, and it's just, you have to be in a specific kind of mood to read this. It's not something to binge, so I was happy that I felt like I felt free enough? I felt good enough? I felt in a time and place that I was capable of reading another Ishiguro, and that is a happy time. Okay, second to last question. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? So I'm gonna stretch this whole like beautiful word, because I don't think that this is the most beautiful, but it's definitely like the most beautiful person on the cover. It's gonna be another manga series. As I said, Gojo, I am sorry you cannot compare to Kakashi, but you're also not unhandsome. So I'm gonna show you this cover. I don't know if this is actually worthy of calling beautiful, because the cover itself is silly. But I like the cover. I think it's, especially because it's silly, I like it. And I think it captures Gojo's persona in a sense. So that is a cover that I enjoyed. Don't know if it's the most beautiful, but I enjoyed it as a cover, that is. Also the blue is nice. A nice blue. And the last question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Basically, the books that I have on my currently reading list on Goodreads. I mean, when will I ever not want to read those? Except for when I'm not reading them. Anyways, I'm gonna pick out two of the books that I really want to finish this year. There are some other books on that list that I have had longer than a year on there, I think, by now, but that I don't necessarily plan on finishing this year. Sometimes I just like seeing how long it takes me to read a particular book. although it takes me years. That's why I track my reading, you know? Some books they just take a while. Anyways, so 2 books that I would like to read until the end of the year are Patient HM, a book that I've been holding on to for a long time, and that is actually part of a vlog that I tried to film in February about like books on my TBR that I've had for over a year, finally getting to them. By the way, if you don't know who Patient HM is one of the most famous neuroscience patients ever to exist, because his hippocampus got removed, and then after that he developed amnesia, and through him we learned so much about memory. And then the second one that I would like to finish is Dune. I know, Dune. I have talked about Dune for the longest time now. I think it's maybe even been a year. Yes. That's the second one. I've read about 100 pages, by the way, if you're curious. So much for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't so bad filming this the second time around. I much more knew what I was going to say. I hope to see you a bit sooner than the last time. Not committing to any schedules, but nonetheless, I will see you at another time in another video. So, bye.